Welcome back to the Pig and Whiskey Test Kitchen, y'all. Today we're gonna make it a gumbo with poulet fumé. Y'all ain't gonna wanna miss this one, Cher. Stick around. Laissez le bon temps brûler. We have about 2 pounds of smoked chicken bones from the last episode. To that, we're going to add 2 onions and 2 cloves of garlic, a handful of parsley stems, and 2 stalks of celery. Just rough cut is fine. 1 large carrot or 2 smaller ones will do, and we're going to add a whole poblano seeded. Cover that with water and bring to a simmer. Then we'll add about a teaspoon of black peppercorns and about 2 teaspoons of kosher salt. Once that comes to a simmer, you're going to put it on low and let it cook for approximately 8 hours. 8 hours later, we're going to remove all the bones from the stock and go ahead and remove any larger particulates as well. And our stock is done. Let's move outside and light the smoker. Once you light the smoker, bring her up to about 350 degrees and throw in some wood chunks. Today we're using pecan wood, which will impart a subtle smoke to the dish. Once the smoker's lit, we're going to construct our roux. Start with half a cup of flour and half a cup of peanut oil. The flavor of the oil will complement the nuttiness of the roux quite well. Go ahead and whisk that to combine. Once you get that whisked up, let's head to the smoker. Just place the roux right on the smoker. We're at 350 degrees and we're going to smoke that for 1.5 hours. In the meantime, we're going to chop our aromatics. Start with seeding 2 Poblano peppers. And today we're using poblanos instead of traditional bell pepper because poblanos have a much deeper flavor than the neutral taste of a bell pepper. Plus, it'll add a nice subtle heat. Next up, dice 3 medium yellow onions. Just give those a quick dice, and then we're going to crush and chop 2 large cloves of garlic. Alright, let's check our roux. It's been 30 minutes. We're going to give that a quick whisk, and we're going to keep whisking every 30 minutes until our 1.5 hours is up. Let's finish dicing our vegetables. Here we are chopping 4 stalks of celery. And this is the key to the whole recipe. We're going to set aside half our vegetables. I'll show you why later on, but just go ahead and remove half of them from the cutting board and place them in a bowl. Now go ahead and set the rest aside. It's been 1.5 hours and we are giving our roux one final whisk. If you notice, the smoke makes a nice, gorgeous, dark roux, and the smoker prevents the roux from burning like it would on the stovetop. Here we are adding our vegetables to the roux. We're going to go ahead and give them a quick stir to combine. You want to make sure that all of your vegetables are coated with the roux. And now replace the lid and set the timer for 10 minutes. While waiting for our vegetables to soften, we're going to chop up our andouille sausage. Yeah, I'm using a commercial brand. I'm sorry I don't have high quality andouille to show you today, but I live on the East Coast, so it's a little more difficult for me to come by. Now we're going to brown up our sausage in approximately 2 tablespoons of bacon grease. Next we'll add our smoked roux to the sausage. The vegetables are already soft, so we're just going to give that a quick stir, and then we're going to add approximately 10 cups of our homemade stock. Once you've added that, you're going to stir that until the roux incorporates into the stock. It will fight you a little bit to begin with, but once it starts to simmer, it'll incorporate and come together nicely. Now, once your roux is combined into the stock, we're going to add our second wave of aromatics, the vegetables we reserved earlier. While that's coming back up to a simmer, let's go ahead and chop up our okra. I have more than enough okra here, so I'm going to try to use the smaller pods, as the smaller pods tend to be more tender than the larger ones, which can take on a woody texture that you might find undesirable. My camera died, so I'm going to walk you through the next few ingredients. Add 2 cups of your sliced okra, 2 teaspoons of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, 2 bay leaves, and 1 tablespoon of Cajun seasoning. Stir to combine and bring it back to a simmer, and once it reaches a simmer, let it go for 15 minutes. Now we're going to add our smoked chicken. To find out more about how I made the smoked chicken and the exact recipe, click on the card link above. The chicken is already very tender, so we're adding it late into the simmer. That way it doesn't fall apart and become stringy in the gumbo. Bring it back to a simmer, then we're going to add a generous handful of chopped parsley. And finally, we're adding 1 tablespoon of filet powder. Once you add the parsley and filet, go ahead and kill the heat and let it sit for 15 minutes. Meanwhile, we're going to make some rice and place that into a bowl. And then we're going to ladle our gumbo into the bowl surrounding the rice. I'm a big guy, so we're making a big portion here. We're going to drizzle a little of our sauce over the top of the rice just to give it a little color. Pinch of fresh chopped parsley and a couple sprinkles of filet powder, and finish it off with some garlic toast points. And here is our finished product. In my opinion, fall is the perfect time of year for gumbo. Not to mention, barbecue season is winding down, so if you're like me, you probably have a lot of leftover smoked chicken in the freezer. Let's give this a taste, but first, a little hot sauce. The smokiness of the roux combined with the smoked chicken really elevates this traditional Cajun dish. It is smoky, comforting, and delicious. Thank you for joining us today in the Pig and Whiskey Test Kitchen. Hope to see you next time. Find our recipes for this episode in the description box below. And don't forget, subscribe.